Law and Society is a semester class, and it focuses on helping students understand the legal environment and the relationship between that environment and the society that we live in. For 9 weeks we study constitutional law, and then for 9 weeks we study criminal law. And it's an introductory course to law, and in any of those types of courses you need the constitutional background first, and then the criminal law is pretty easy to understand after that.
Well, I think it's important to learn those things because you could use them in your own personal life. Like if you think you're being stripped of your freedom of speech or something.
I think it's a really good class for legal related careers, and there are more of those than people sometimes are aware of. For example, I was thinking of this just today, that I have former students that are actually attorneys, police officers, FBI agents, social workers, prison guards, legal secretaries. I have a student that's teaching law. I try to bring in a series of guest speakers. We bring in the sheriff, we go down and visit the judge, we visit the tribal courts. That's another connection that I think kids can make, especially in a somewhat small community. A lot of times they know the people, and it helps them kind of see that law actually gets played out in these careers out in the community. I do a lot of stuff with blended learning right now, so they're online a lot, and that has changed teaching law 100% from when I started.
There's really only one really big project that you do, and it's where you study a case from history. I did the Chicago 7. It was a bunch of, well, pretty much hippies that wanted to start a riot in Chicago.
Any good teaching is give them a framework and then let them have a little room within the framework, and I think I do that in that project, partly because they get to choose. So obviously they would go with something of some interest.
Well, I was born in Chicago, grew up in Chicago, so I figured, yeah, it'd be interesting to me.
I try to make sure that it's taught in the context of what's going on right now. So for example, as we start this semester, we're having a huge debate in America about gun violence, and that's a legal debate. It draws in the Second Amendment, it draws in how do we protect ourselves from violent crime in society, all of that. So I think just practical citizenship skills would be the other thing. It's an interesting course to teach for me because it changes from year to year. It's never the same. The legal system is fluid. There's always change going on. It's subject to politics. The politics is always changing. I think for me as a teacher, I've been teaching 34 years, it keeps it fresh for me.
It's just really fun. Mr. Ricken makes everything a little bit more interesting.
Chemistry is the study of matter and energy and how those two things interact with each other. And matter is anything in the world, anything you touch, taste, smell, it's all made of matter. And just understanding how those things interact with each other is going to help you understand the world around you better. In chemistry, we start with the basic building block of anything around you, and that's the atom. When we get understanding of how atoms work, what they're made of, then we start building upon that and sticking atoms together and seeing how they combine to make new things and how those things react to make even more new things. Like I said, anything around you is made of matter. Chemistry is studying all of that.
So you need like 3 science credits to get into a really good college. So I think chemistry is a good idea after biology and physical science. It's kind of reiterating what physical science taught you in the beginning and just focusing more on atoms and electrons and protons.
The kind of kids that should take chemistry are those who are either four-year college bound, somebody that's looking forward into getting more into the science field. Most four-year colleges usually require you to take chemistry in high school, so it's a really good idea to have that nice base for when you do go to college. Also, if you're looking into getting into nursing, maybe 2-year instead of a 4-year college, anything health related, you're going to need that chemistry base, so chemistry is a good class to take while you're here in high school. I like teaching the course because I get to challenge my students. Chemistry kind of gets this bad rap that it's really hard, it's not that interesting, but I think it's one of the most fun science classes that we have here at Black River. Most kids don't think, I'm really excited to take chemistry until they get to the class. And a lot of the things we learn in chemistry take practice and they take patience, but once you do learn them, once you conquer them, it's very, very rewarding to feel that sense of pride that you learned something that's difficult.
I really love the hands-on work in our labs. We did a lot of labs. One we did it was like a water displacement one where we figured out like the density of it, and we put like in a cylinder and then you put like a weight in it and you figure out the water displacement of it.
One of my favorite activities this year in chemistry, we did a project when we talked about atomic theory, and atomic theory started way back with the Greeks and it goes all the way to modern day, and each student got to pick a scientist that they wanted to study. They researched that scientist and then they presented them their information as they were that scientist. So they got to dress up like the Greeks.
It was really fun when we had to dress up like old dead guys that made the atomic theory, and then pretend we were scientists and talk in accents and dress up and give a presentation.
Right now there's a really high demand for college graduates to have a science degree. There's a lot of people looking for people graduating with science degrees, whether it's chemistry, biology, physics. There's going to be a lot of job opportunities coming up in those areas. So if you have a strong basis when you're in high school, get that interest while you're here so that you can go on, graduate college, get a job right away.
You're going to want it when you go to college and be good hands-on there. So you're going to want to take it, and all you got to do in this class is just pay attention and do your work and define it.
Accounting is a class where students learn to take daily business transactions, journalize them, post those transactions, and then take an overall assessment of a business's activities to see whether or not a business is making money or losing money. So that's really what accounting is trying to look at a business and determine, is it successful or is it not successful.
I just love how it's like hands-on, like you do your own work. I mean, it's kind of an everyday, you get an everyday assignment, but she always helps you through it and you always know what to do, so you're never lost.
One of the elements of accounting is it starts out so that students are journalizing daily transactions. But what we build into is taking a look at a business at the end of a fiscal cycle and trying to determine whether or not that business is successful. Did it make money for that month or that quarter or that year, or did it lose money? Because as a business owner or a business manager, what you need to do is, if you were not successful, you need to make changes. And for young businesses just starting out, you need to make changes quickly. So does that mean you buy your product from different suppliers? Perhaps. Does that mean you cut down on expenses? Perhaps. But as a business owner, you need to be able to respond quickly to what's happening financially within your business.
Yeah, it's really good for a small business if you're going to own one, or if you're ever just going to have a checkbook or something like that. You don't really have to be good at numbers to be in it. You just have to like be organized to be in this class. And if you're not, she'll still help you through it.
I think this class is a good idea for people who like concrete answers to most questions. It's not something that a teacher can evaluate. It's either right or wrong.
What I like best about this class is that it makes sense. It's black and it's white. You can see an expense. You can see a revenue. You can see money coming in. You can see money going out. And there are ways that you can respond to that as a business owner. There are some classes that have ethical decisions to make. If you look at law, and those are gray areas, and sometimes as a teacher it's nice to say this is the way to handle that, or this is an inappropriate way to handle that, and to try to reason with students as they look at accounts and examine what's happening with the business. But there are fewer gray areas, and I really appreciate that about accounting.
To take it because it'll help you out when you get older, because you're going to want to know and have these skills when you get older in life.
I think what I want my students to understand after taking accounting is how accounting affects their lives. Every student is going to make financial decisions as an adult, buying a home, taking out loans for cars, and what I want them to do is to take a look at their budget and look at it as a business. Can I afford this? What are my expenses in my personal life? How much income or revenue do I have coming in? And so make choices and decisions based upon their knowledge of accounting.
Miss Finch, she's great. I mean, she's always nice, she's always in a good mood, and she always helps you out no matter what. So if you have a question, she'll answer it for you and help you through it.